The blind spot emerged historically alongside science for a good reason. It was a natural response to the extraordinary success the new methods of science were delivering to European societies beginning in the 17th century. That was when communities of investigators across Europe started setting up different configurations of the scientific workshop in the form of laboratories, observatories, and learned societies that laid down norms for data collection, data analysis, modes of reasoning, and mathematical argumentation. As a result, in the space of just a few centuries, a remarkable series of advances in the understanding of key questions such as the nature of motion, force, heat, light, and even the basics of biological development was achieved. This knowledge was empirical and theoretical, allowing science to be put to use quickly in reshaping endeavors like agriculture, mining, trade, warfare, and even the conceptual and mathematical frameworks used for financing these activities. It was a time of unparalleled triumph for science. In the wake of such success, the constellation of elements making up the blind spot seemed to emerge naturally, and naturally be paired with the root causes of that triumph. This period between the late 16th and late 19th centuries is the era of classical physics. In this chapter, we focus on physics because more than any other domain, its progress came to define the ideal form of what science could deliver. The triumph of classical physics from the 17th to the 19th centuries allowed the disembodied framework of the blind spot to form and take hold, and eventually to become dominant, so that it faded into the background as simply what science says. Thus, to understand how the blind spot limits scientific culture now, we must first understand how it came to seem natural for the culture then. We begin with the ancient Greek roots of science. It was during that remarkable period that key debates and their essential polarities were established. Because the current form of science emerged from European society, though it would owe much to global circulations of knowledge created by other societies, and because the recovery of Greek sources was the basis for the intellectual reawakening of the scholastics and later the Renaissance, the conceptual frameworks of science trace back to the Greeks. From there, we will track the evolution of classical physics and its all-important conceptions of motion and force from the scholastics in the 13th and 14th centuries on to Newton's unparalleled achievements. It was Newton who codified what a successful description of reality should look like in order to establish the existence of laws of nature. We conclude with the exploration of the refinement and extensions of Newton's work by Joseph-Louis Lagrange and William Hamilton. The analytical mechanics they and others developed represented the crowning achievement of classical physics. It deployed a level of abstraction that seemed to offer convincing proof that the universe was, indeed, written in the language of mathematics.